Hello and welcome. This is Vincent for Tiksu to UniTartu, and today we're going to be discussing studying abroad during your studies here at the University of Tartu. I'm joined by Kristi and Anton. Kristi works at the UT Study Abroad Center, and Anton is from Ukraine, and he's an international student who has done a semester abroad in South Korea. We're going to be talking about the details of how you can do a study abroad semester, some of our tips and tricks for making your study abroad semester successful, and our experiences studying abroad. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves? Anton?
Sure. Hello, Vincent. Hello, Kristi. A big pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting. Hopefully that's going to be very useful. So I'm Anton or Anton. I'm from Ukraine, studying computer science masters here in Tartu. So second year of study. That's it.
Hello, my name is Kristi Liivamägi and I work at the Study Abroad Center as a study abroad coordinator. This is quite a new job for me. I have worked here about half a year. So let's talk about studying abroad.
Great. And so one thing we usually like to ask the international students here is how you found Estonia and how you found the University of Tartu. You can tell us a little story.
Sure. Well, I'm really passionate about startups. So when I was choosing university and a country as well, I was that was important for me as a criteria to have some kind of startup ecosystem. And here in Tartu, we have, Startup Day, we have Startup Lab in the university, we have starter program, even like a special course. So that's something that I guess kind of bought me. But overall, like in Estonia in general, I really like the digitalization that you guys have. It helps you to stay agile, and there is no bureaucracy at least as far as I can see. But then I guess I haven't lived here for so long, so I cannot say for sure. But those were my main reasons, right?
Great. Yeah, that's definitely a big attractive point for here. And Kristi, I want to ask you maybe how you got into your position and what you do at the Study Abroad Center.
At the Study Abroad Center, we provide information and support for the UT students who want to study abroad. And also, on the other hand, we also welcome exchange students who come to study at the University of Tartu. And I must emphasize that we do not do this work alone. We have close cooperation with the departments as well.
Great. So the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is, maybe this one might be geared a little bit more toward Kristi, but where can you study? What options do you have for studying abroad at the University of Tartu?
Actually, there are a lot of options. Maybe the most extensive opportunities are offered by the Erasmus program. This is funded by the European Union, and our departments or institutes have really extensive partner base, or they have really a lot of agreements with universities in Europe. So this is maybe one of the most widely spread options that students use. Then we have a lot of partner universities as well all over the world. And you can go, for instance, to Japan or South Korea or the United States. And also through different networks, you can study in Australia, Brazil, or some other exotic countries. Mm-hmm. And the University of Tartu is also a member of the ISAP program. And this program has a worldwide network of universities. So there are so many options, actually.
Mm-hmm. And when you're doing this study abroad, you're there as a visiting student, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you mentioned South Korea as one of the locations. Mm-hmm. I know our friend Anton here did do a study abroad in South Korea. Would you like to maybe tell us a little bit about that, Anton?
Yeah, for sure. I will back up what Kristi has said previously, is that indeed you can study anywhere you want, actually. And I was part of the International Student Exchange Program, which is short for ISAP. There are a lot of different universities, a lot of options. I really wanted to go somewhere to Asia. So, Asia seems like a brave new world for me, to be honest. It's like the culture, traditions, people's mindsets, everything is so drastically different from what we are used to. Mm-hmm. And that's something that excites me, because like every culture has something interesting, something valuable to offer. So I mean, I know that sounds like a cliche, but you grow personally when you go out of the comfort zone, when you meet people who have different beliefs from you. So yeah, that's something that was really exciting for me to try to. I decided to go to Korea, although I also was thinking about Japan, China, and other Asian countries. But my priorities were Asia primarily, and that's why, as Kristi has said, that Erasmus has primarily the program primarily targets European universities, while ICEP and Tartu has also partnerships with different universities all over the world, but ICEP has a very big base of different universities who are part of this specific program.
Yeah. So you mentioned Asia. I wanted to ask Kristi specifically, what are some other popular locations that people study abroad at? Is it mostly Asian countries, or does it differ for each student?
Yeah, it seems that Asia is really, really popular because Japan and South Korea are among the top destinations if we look further from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but inside Europe, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Finland, Czech Republic, that kind of countries. And also as the university is part of this Enlight Alliance, which is consists of 10 comprehensive European universities, and these universities have also agreed to concentrate more on student exchange, then students also go more often to those Enlight universities.
Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what would you say are some of the benefits to going and studying abroad besides, just staying at your home university?
Well, one of the benefits that I have heard when I have talked to students who have been abroad is they really value our home university much higher when they come back because they see that it's so well organized, and you get the reply to your emails really quickly. But of course you get new friends, you can learn the language, you can just broaden your horizons.
Yeah, I mean, going off that, Anton, maybe you can tell us how your experience was and maybe how it compared to studying at the University of Tartu.
Right. So as Kristi was saying, all that I was kind of nodding my head, although you guys probably cannot see it. But yeah, it's all really true. And I guess I kind of will roast a bit my South Korean university just to start with. Although, well, there are a lot of definitely benefits to studying in a Korean university. But one funny thing is that so first of all, our Tartu University, the campuses and all the university buildings, they are scattered all around the city. But in Korea, Korean universities, they are kind of similar to the US, I guess, universities in that sense that all the university buildings are located in the same area, so it's like a very big campus area. And I'm not sure what genius decided to put university on a very big hill, because I'm not sure if you guys go like to hit the gym, but if you do, you can feel free to skip leg days, because every time you go to class in the morning, it's like a leg workout.
Well, I think that's one thing that we can safely say doesn't happen at the University of Tartu. There's not too many hills, except maybe coming up to this specific institute, up the hill, next to the political studies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you guys watched Panda Kung Fu, and this the stairs to the Jade Palace, I think I saw something very, very similar. But yeah, apart from that, what's was really interesting for me in Korean education system is that attendance is mandatory. So here in theory you can skip classes left and right, but there if you skip a certain number of classes, you get an F. And kind of a bad thing is that once again to back up our Tartu's digitalization, that in Korea they take attendance on paper. So the teacher passes a paper sheet that you need to fill with your name. Also, they do have actually a mobile app that the teacher basically shares the code. You enter the code into the app, and then if the app notices that you're 2 kilometers away using, your GPS location from the university, there will be question, of course. But
did you feel like it was more of a cultural thing to have to be present, or was it maybe just that specific teacher at the university?
Oh no, that's common among all universities in Korea. So yeah, that's not yeah.
I can add that it's not common only in Korea. It's also common in many European universities because students who have studied in France, for instance, said they got a key card and they had to, register it each time they came to class. So.
Oh, wow.
And it was also compulsory to attend classes.
Right, well, lucky we are.
Definitely. So, Kristi, I wanted to ask you, maybe what's the best time during somebody's, program to maybe do a semester abroad? Should they do it right away or maybe, further down the line?
I think it's a good idea to start planning quite early. So if you come here, you should already maybe do some research because, for instance, if you want to study abroad next academic year, some of the competitions start already in January, so it takes some time to prepare. Also, do not leave it for the last semester, because if you want to graduate on time, it's almost impossible to go abroad during your last semester because you need to get the study results before you go to defense, and foreign universities are quite slow, and the semester dates also are different, so you most probably will not get the results on time. So students are sometimes quite surprised that, wow, I cannot graduate on time. So maybe in the second year of your bachelor studies is a good time, or then second or third semester of your master studies.
And when they go to these foreign universities and take these different classes, I know they're trying to, substitute an equivalent with the program they're doing at the University of Tartu. How often are these not accepted, or that they take classes and it doesn't transfer over?
Well, they have to agree on the study plan and the learning agreement beforehand, so it cannot be a surprise later that, wow, it's not accepted. So you first select the courses and then you discuss with your institute how those courses can be transferred to your curriculum. So it really depends. In some programs it's quite easy to find compulsory courses. In others, maybe it's not so easy, and also it depends on the interest of the students. Some students do not want to take compulsory courses. They want to take all kinds of other interesting courses and then transfer those as optionals.
Anton, do you think you could maybe tell us about your experience at the foreign university and transferring some of your credits over, and maybe some of the classes that you took that the University of Tartu doesn't offer?
Right. So, for example, me, I only took 3 classes in a foreign university. I think we can maybe mention that a bit later, but I think it's very important to set your priorities straight when you go for an exchange. For me, getting to know the country was a bit more important than studying. So that's why I only took 3 courses. I was able to transfer all those without any problems. If anything, I think Tartu is really lenient to students. So it's not like the university is super strict that, hey, this course doesn't have the same name, so we are not going to transfer it or something.
So in terms of your study track, you took 3 courses, then you came back. So now your subsequent semesters, you're doing more credits to catch up?
Kinda. So actually, before coming for an exchange, I took a lot of courses. So basically, I took, let's say normally you take, 4, 5, 6 courses during the semester. Well, let's say I took 8, so that next semester I can take 4. That was basically my strategy. That's how I was able to take less courses when you go for an exchange. And I would actually encourage people to do that. Don't take many courses when you go for an exchange. Because, studying obviously is really important, but there should be time for socializing, getting to know other people. You will meet a lot of different, very interesting people, and of course you want to know the country and country's tradition as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. Kristi, I wanted to ask you, is this possible to do for all different programs here at the University of Tartu, or would you say there's a specific few that you're not able to, or maybe for different levels if it's a little bit harder to do?
Well, in general it is possible for all programs, but the available options may vary. So, and maybe those 1-year degrees for those students, it might not be possible as well.
Yeah.
But if you go to study abroad, you need to take the minimum is 15 credits, so probably Anton got 15 credits. So this is the minimum that you have to fulfill. And if you have brought back 15 credits, you will get an extra semester to catch up with your studies if you haven't, if you haven't done extra credits earlier.
Okay. And Anton, I wanted to ask you maybe a little bit more about your study abroad experience. I mean, coming from Ukraine to Estonia, obviously it's two very different places, but there's maybe not as big of a culture shock as going all the way over to South Korea. Could you maybe tell us about some of the culture shocks you might have experienced?
Yeah, that's a very great question. So indeed, when I came to Estonia, there was no culture shock for me at all. Honestly, I like to travel, so I've been to many different European countries as well as to US and Canada. And once again, there was no cultural shock at all. So I was thinking that I am tough, and then when I come to Korea, it's nothing. Well, of course it's going to be surprising, but not to that extent. Well, I was really wrong. So there are a lot of things that Asian people do differently, and that's actually a very cool thing. What kind of surprised me is that people don't actually speak English that much. So, for example, here in Tartu, if I go to a supermarket, cashier will speak English, surprisingly. I mean, that's going to be a very bad English, but they will be able to say something. There, no, no. Even Europeans, of course, they speak English, but the level is surprisingly slower. I would say it's probably because their English is just different. We all have our own accent, our own English, so to say. So that might have something to do with it. But overall, there are some things that you can do, some things that you cannot do. For example, if I were to pass to you, Vincent, or to you, Kristi, I know a glass of water, for example. If I do that with one hand, that's kind of considered impolite, unless we know each other really, really well. So you would need to do that with two hands. There's also bowing and stuff. It's super exciting to know all those tiny things, because they have something related to history, tradition. So yeah, that was really cool.
I think I have been to South Korea before, and one of the things that I experienced that kind of shocked me as well is if you're drinking, you're not supposed to look at somebody that's older than you. So maybe you're taking a shot or just having a sip or something, and you're supposed to turn your head to the side. So I thought that was really interesting. It's not something we experience here in Estonia. But I guess in terms of from Estonia, from your home country to Estonia here, a lot of the superstitions kind of surprised me. People told me that I'm not supposed to put the bread back upside down, or it's bad luck, or
Exactly, that's the thing. You cannot, for example, put your chopsticks vertically into the rice, because that's a death ceremonial type of thing, as far as I remember. I was so surprised that when you mentioned before that you've been to Korea. I'm curious, what's your experience? What did you like most about Korea, or didn't like most?
It wasn't so much different than Estonia in terms of I like to call it a type of civil obedience, I guess. I think that was my favorite part, is people were very quiet, very respectful. There's not anybody hooting and hollering in the buses, so to say. I mean, obviously it'll happen here because sometimes Estonians do enjoy their alcoholic beverages. I'll say that. But in Korea, I kind of had that sense that, if you left something out, it wasn't going to get stolen. And I kind of feel the same way in Estonia. So maybe not so much a shock, but that was something that I really appreciate about being here and being there.
Indeed. So in all Asia, it's very, very safe. It's one of the reasons why nightlife in Asian countries like Korea and Japan. I'm not sure about China because I haven't been to China yet. But because it's so safe, the nightlife is just amazing.
So, Kristi, we're talking a lot about these different Asian countries. Do we get a lot of study abroad students coming from Asia to Tartu?
Not so much. They mostly still come from Europe, but yeah, it's increasing. So
okay. So I wanted to ask you also, and maybe you can share how you found out about the opportunities, Anton. But where can somebody find information about the Study Abroad Center or studying abroad?
Well, first of all, there's this weekly student newsletter that has a separate section, and surprisingly, many students don't know about this newsletter, but it's there, and please keep an eye on it. And also, of course, our website, and we do organize info seminars.
And Anton, maybe you could tell me your personal experience kind of going through the Study Abroad Center and how you kind of got your study abroad taken care of.
Right. So I did read the Tartu's newsletter. Although I think that I kind of found all the information by myself, because it was a while since I wanted to go for an exchange even during my bachelor's, but there was no opportunity for that at that time. Right. So first of all, I will probably mention my top 3 resources for finding some useful information regarding studying abroad. So yes, definitely number 1 is UT webpage. There is a lot of useful information on our official university webpage. Then you can just Google, for example, Erasmus or ICEP. They publish a lot, practically all the information that you need to go using those programs. And you can just overall Google, and you will find a lot of useful stuff. And the last one, don't be afraid to write a letter to our study abroad center or mobility center. They are very responsive. One more thing that I want to mention is that truth be told, you will need a lot of documents if you will want to apply for an exchange. That starts with list of top 10 universities that you want to study with, and obviously your transcripts and letter of recommendation, statement of purpose. Some universities even want a course list, because, for example, if you're a computer scientist and then you want to study at the med schools, and the question is what kind of courses are you willing to take. So to mitigate some potential issues, they require a course list. There are a lot of documents, that's for sure. But it's definitely so much worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I kind of want to expand on that. I know you were just giving some advice, but do you guys have any, as my last question, do we have any more advice for somebody thinking about studying abroad or that's just about to go on a study abroad semester? Maybe Kristi?
First of all, we could send out much more students than we are currently sending, so don't be afraid that it's really difficult to get the place. So there are really a lot of options. What else? Maybe do some research, because not all programs have grants or scholarships included. So students might think that if I apply for studies abroad, then I automatically get the scholarship. But in many cases, you just don't have to pay the tuition fee. So, but ICEP has quite good conditions, and Erasmus has the scholarship. So.
Mm-hmm. Anton, do you maybe have any other advice for somebody going abroad?
Honestly, just do it. It's really a unique experience, being a tourist in a country and living there with rights somewhat equal to a citizen of that country. Those are completely different things. You will get access to circles of people that you would have been able to access as a tourist. You will make a lot of international friends from many, many, many different countries. You will meet a lot of locals as well. It's truly an invaluable experience, and kind of missing out on it while you are still in a university when you still are eligible to apply. Don't do it. Just apply. Just do it.
And one more thing, if you don't want to go for a whole semester, it's also possible to do this Erasmus traineeship, and for that the minimum period is only 2 months.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your knowledge and experience. Thank you so much for joining me as well. And this has been Tiksu to UniTartu. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. We hope you had a chill time with us. Make sure to follow the University of Tartu social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. And if you have any questions for us about the podcast or topics you'd like us to cover in the future, then let us know. And this has been Tiksu to UniTartu.